Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, Season 8, Episode 22. So yeah, we're continuing to record, to pre-record these reactions well in advance because of the Australian leaks. This episode won't be airing for quite a few weeks now. Let's see. Episode 19 is on the 1st, 20 is on the 8th, 21 is the 15th. So this episode won't be airing until Saturday the 22nd of September. But I'm recording it on the 29th of August because I want to avoid spoilers. So yeah. The last episode, Rockcliffe and a Hard Place, was phenomenal. Loved it. But now we're getting into this one, and just like the last one though, I don't know anything. Going in. I don't know the title, I don't know the writer, I don't know anything about the plot, but I'm excited to find out. There have been a lot of great episodes this season, and I'm hoping this is another. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, I see what they're doing here, and it's not gonna work. It's too late to try and do this at this point. So, let me explain. Let me explain. Episode 12 was marked for effort. In episode 12, we were introduced to Cozy Glow. She was a character who was introduced as a new friendship student and everything. And her entire deal was that she was unsure of if she could understand friendship and pass the test. Well, the CMC helped her out. She got a little bit, how do I put it? She messed things up a little bit, but in the end, everything ended up working out. And people were, like, coming up with this idea after that episode that Cozy Glow was secretly evil, or there was all kinds of theories floating around, like, oh, maybe she's actually Chrysalis in disguise, or maybe Cozy Glow is working for Principal Naysay or something. And some people were saying, like, oh, but maybe she's doing it and she doesn't know that it's wrong. Maybe she's, like, been brainwashed by Naysay, and what she's doing is, like, what she thinks is right. Stuff like that. There's been all kinds of theories like that. And my entire time after that, I was like, no, there's, like, zero evidence to support this idea. Then we had Friendship University, episode 16, 4 episodes later. And Friendship University brought her back, and it was starting to try and kind of hint at this idea that there is something more to her. Because at the end, it was like, I wonder how FiM and FiM got a copy of the book anyway, and then suddenly she enters, and it was like, it was clearly hinting that she gave them the book. But at this point, it's like, they've already worked on establishing her character and establishing what kind of character she is. Now, this show and other shows and whatnot, all kinds of things have done the idea where it's like, oh, this nice character we thought was great and everything has secretly been evil or bad the entire time. And it's like, that's all well and good, but there has to be some kind of hint or evidence to it. And it has to be there from the beginning. The problem is, it wasn't. There was absolutely nothing in Marks for Effort that hinted that she was a bad guy. Some people will try to say that the way she acted was too manipulative and everything, and it's like, maybe that there was a little bit of manipulative thought in there, but that does not at all prove her to be a bad guy. There's nothing to say that she's evil or that she's plotting something because of that. Heck, our main characters have been more manipulative than that. our main characters have done worse than that, straight up. I mean, remember Ghostbusters from season 1? The point is, there's been nothing to say that Cozy Glow has been evil. There's, again, Friendship University gave that small hint that there was something there, but it's like, at that point, it's like, that's not actually proof of anything. That's just like saying, like, oh, we're just gonna, like, kind of imply something without actually giving any evidence or any real, anything real to the idea. We're not going to actually hint at anything. We're just going to imply it without actually having her do anything wrong. And, like, every appearance she's had, even in the background and stuff, nothing has, lended to this idea of her being evil. Until this episode. This is 10 episodes after her initial debut. 10 episodes after her first appearance. And now they decide, at this point, to hint at her being evil. And not only just hint at it, but actually have her acting on that idea. Nothing she has done up to this point has even slightly hinted that she could be evil. Nothing she has done has been, like, straight up bad or wrong or super negative. I mean, definitely not even as much so as, again, the main 6 or CMC have done in the past. They've done a lot worse than anything we've seen Cozy Glow do. There has been a lot more... by this logic, there would be more hints that the CMC or the main 6 are evil than Cozy Glow. But in this episode, we had a few things. So, Cozy Glow's first appearance here in this episode is not much at face value and all. But then she starts to talk to them, to the other students, and it's like, the way she starts to speak is very reminiscent of Chancellor Naysay. She's basically saying that their races aren't predisposed to be good at friendship. And the way she's saying it, the specific things she's saying and everything towards each of their races is very much in line with how Naysay seems to see things. So this could kind of give some idea towards her being connected to Naysay. Then she, after they start fighting and all, the entire thing with the tree and its test happens. And at the end, after they solve it, and they start to fall asleep, you see her peer down at the magic hole in the school that leads to the tree's roots and everything. And it's like, at that point, it's like very clear that they're trying to tell us that she's plotting something. They're not even hiding it anymore. And again, they're actually giving us something to work with. But the problem with that is, it's too late. Again, it's 10 episodes after she was first introduced. It is near the end of the season, only a few more episodes after this. And now you're going to actually have her do something that's wrong? Like, at this point, it's too late to establish her as a possible villain. As to give her that hint of a character. Because at this point, she's already been established as being otherwise. See, the thing is, when you have a character like this who you're trying to make the audience think is good at first, and then ends up being evil, again, you have to give hints at it the entire time, and you have to make her doing things that is really questionable, or really, like, something that really doesn't fit in with the rest of her character. And there's been nothing like that up until now. So to try and do that at this point, they're already doing it when she's established. You see, when you do this kind of story and other things, if you establish the character, at that point, the character is, well, established. You cannot just change them at the drop of a hat like that after that point, unless it's, like, properly built up to and properly handled. Doing the way they did it here was extremely poorly handled. It's very clear, as of this episode, that she's going to be either the main villain of the finale, a villain of the finale, or is going to have some kind of connection to Naysay, to where she is, like, bad, but maybe doesn't doesn't even know she's bad because, you know, the entire theory that maybe Naysay's kind of, in a sense, brainwashed her into believing that what she's doing and what he's doing is good. We don't know. But that also raises a lot of questions. The Chrysalis thing, I really don't think so. Especially since she appeared before Chrysalis's return in the Mean Six. If she was really Chrysalis, then that kind of wouldn't make sense. The entire plot of the Mean Six would have had to have happened prior to Marks for Effort, which is possible. But I don't know, I don't see it happening. I think that'd be, like, way too easy. And if they were going that route, they might have had, like, maybe a flash of green eyes in this episode. Either way, I think it's definitely clear as of this episode that she is bad. And I think that's, again, a bad thing. They really mishandled this. Now, I'm not saying that the finale or her reveal as a villain and all is going to be bad in and of itself, because it could end up being amazing. She could end up having an amazing reveal. She could end up just really having a great presence as a villain in the finale. I don't know how it's going to go. But the build-up to her even being a villain was so terribly handled. It really was. However, this episode in general, let's actually say what I thought about this episode in and of itself. I really liked it. And let me talk about the biggest reason why. I mean, yes, there's the great writing, the great pacing. I like the idea of the test that they were going through and how it related to their fears and how they had to come together in friendship to get past them. I loved all of that. But what I really want to talk about here is the tree. The Tree of Harmony, and in a sense, everything it's connected to. The castle, the map. There have been all of these thoughts like, okay, is the map sentient? And all of that. Is the tree sentient? People have been wondering this kind of stuff. And it's like, the map is directly connected to the Tree of Harmony. They're basically, in a sense, one and the same. And you could say that about Twilight's Castle as well. So, by that logic, if the tree is sentient, so would the map be. And from everything we've seen up to this point, it's honestly exceedingly obvious to say so. To say that the tree / the map is sentient. And that it does have its own basically mind. It can think for itself, it can act for itself. This episode was extremely important in answering a lot of those questions. Right from the beginning of the episode with the lecture that Twilight was giving about the tree and everything, about whether or not it was it had a mind of its own. It's like that's something that people, again, have been wondering for a long time. With episodes we've seen before, especially the map episodes, certain ones like involving Spike and Starlight and whatnot, people have been wondering, okay, is the tree just choosing this on its own? Is the tree like sentient and making the decisions on who to send? And I've always been a proponent of yes. I've always said that yes, the tree and the map, I've always believed that they were sentient, and I've always fought for that idea. In my eyes, the evidence has been extremely clear that the tree and the map have actually made decisions, have actually acted upon things in the past. So it's definitely sentient. And this episode straight up confirmed it. The tree / map basically forced the students into a friendship quest. And we find out the tree was taking the form of the teachers and whatnot, Twilight, Rarity, all of them, Rainbow Dash, as a way to test them. Because you saw at the end there, when Sandbar stood up to Rarity and Rainbow Dash, you saw right before they disappeared, they gave a little smirk. They smiled. And that's clear to say that that was what was that was the test. That was what was meant to happen. And then at the end, and then after that, when they all come together and they see the vision of Twilight again, and it confirms that it's really the tree, it's like this all makes so much sense. the tree is sentient and has even evolved into a further level of that sentience, to where it can actually form physical manifestations of other ponies in order to do this kind of stuff. That's insane to think about. Like, that's really insane to think about. But the last thing I want to mention real quick for this is each of their little fears here. So Yona was afraid of spiders, and she overcame this by realizing that even spiders can be friends, basically. Now, obviously, this is applicable only to the world of Equestria and everything, because you're not going to go in real life, find a spider, and make friends with it. No, not unless it's like a pet spider, but even that's kind of debatable as to whether you'd not actually be friends with it. Gallus was afraid of tight spaces. He's claustrophobic. However you pronounce it. Claustrophobic? Yeah. He's claustrophobic. Which is a very real, like, phobia in life. A lot of people have it. So it's like, yeah, seeing how that goes off and how he gets through it by basically trying to be brave and then figuring out the puzzle is honestly the only way he could get through it. Smolder is afraid of others knowing that she likes cute things, that she is really interested in things like tea parties and dressing up and stuff. But in the end, she realizes that it doesn't matter what others think of her and that she should enjoy what she enjoys. Then we have Silverstream, who's terrified of the prospect of the Storm King returning and all of her friends and family suffering because of it. And Gallus helps her realize that she needs to stand up to those kind of fears, that she needs to speak out against the proverbial boogeymen hiding in the shadows. And so she does, and realizes that that's all she needs to do when she's afraid of stuff like that. Sandbar was afraid of disappointing the ponies he looked up to, the heroes of Equestria. And in the end, he realizes that if his morals, if his sensibilities, if his ideals and friendships are threatened by the ponies he looks up to, he has to be okay with disappointing them if it means doing what's best and doing what's right. And, hold on, mind is blanking on the last one here. There's one more I have to think of here. Oh, yeah. Oh, what is her name? Wow, now I'm blanking on her name. Ocellus. Ocellus is afraid of basically becoming like her mother, Queen Chrysalis. She's afraid of being stuck in that kind of role, being a horrible shell, in a way, pun intended, of what a changeling has become. Changelings have become nice and kind and good creatures, and so she's afraid of going back to the way things were, back to how basically the changelings were for most of their existence. So yeah, this was a really fascinating episode that delved deep into a lot of concepts. I definitely think that the entire thing with Cozy Glow is going to be coming to a head in the finale. And this tree thing might too, because that definitely seems like something I don't think they would want to just mention and then not bring back for a big finale like this. Not at this point in the season. Either way, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of MLP Season 8, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles, shed tears along the way, you're still standing, live, love, laugh.